Oh, hello. Hello everyone, I'm Maria. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm gonna do a video that quite a lot of you have already requested, and I have been a bit reluctant to do it, and the reason for that is, well, I guess you already know what it is about because you read the title of this video, but the reason I've been a bit reluctant to do this video is simply because there's so many options out there that I was afraid of kind of making you get the impression that the things I'm gonna say now are the only options. They're not. These are just the ones I came across and are the ones I know, so please, if you want more information, you should definitely research. Don't let this video be the only knowledge you have on the subject. Please go in the internet, talk to other people, and just research it as well. These are just some things and I came across, and I know people working on them, so without any further ado, let's start. Today I'm going to be talking to you about possible jobs that someone with a degree in marine biology can have outside academia. If you're interested in a video on the career of a marine biologist in academia, leave it down in the comment section below, and depending whether you guys want it or not, I can also do one for that, but that's not what this one's going to be about. This is jobs outside academia. So let's start. Environmental consultancy agencies is an example of a type of company or companies that might be interested in employing marine biologists. So normally environmental consultancy groups or companies work with a client that somehow has activities that kind of involve meddling with the environment. And normally they work together to make sure that the activities of the client are in accordance to all the environmental laws, and many times try to plan their activities in a way to minimize the environmental impact that whatever it is they are doing will have. This is a very random example just given by me. If, let's say, a company wants to build a wind farm, to get energy from wind offshore, so just off the coast somewhere. If you put these structures in the water, there will be for sure some kind of impact in the surrounding environment. And one of the things that might be necessary to do is to make environmental impact assessments prior the construction of whatever structures are needed, and also planning and kind of predicting what will happen to this environment once all of these structures are built. So this is, for instance, a type of job that they would maybe ask someone with knowledge in marine biology or ecology to work on. Of course, probably this person would not work alone. There would be a team of people from different fields with different expertise working towards the same goal. But it is a job where having knowledge in marine biology or ecology could come in hand, since you have to have an idea of how, for instance, this coastal ecosystem would work and kind of try to understand how it would change with the implementation of this wind farm, for instance. Some of them are specialized in certain areas. Some might be specialized in things related to building offshore, like, for instance, oil rigs or wind farms. Some might even be more specialized in things like wastewater treatment plants or energy plants. Some are big and just are specialized in everything. There are many different types, from small to bigger companies, and this is definitely an option for someone with a degree in marine biology to work on. Many companies, normally bigger companies, do have their own teams working on these plans, even though many times they require assistance from other companies outside, but many of them also do have scientists inside the companies working on these things. And many times they even have research labs inside the companies to, well, research whatever it is they need to help them find better solutions for their activities or to kind of make more profit from their product. Some companies, big and small, also do have these kind of research positions in which marine biologists might even be accepted or sometimes even looked for if they have activities that involve somehow the ocean, or sometimes even just coastal activities. For instance, also obviously aquaculture companies. Aquaculture, for those who don't know, is the farming of fish. So normally you build these aquaculture tanks offshore, just not so far off from the coast. So there's a lot of environmental things you have to take into consideration while building this. You also have to take into consideration the health of the fish and all the environment around. So this is also maybe something where marine biologists could play a role in. Okay, now we've talked about specific private companies. Another type of private company, normally they are private, even though some are governmental, but well, let's assume that some are private, some are governmental, doesn't matter. You, as a marine biologist, you can work in aquariums or museums. Of course, aquariums have aquaria, which have fish, and normally these aquaria try to simulate the environment in the ocean. And it is good to have people with some knowledge on how these environments work, how the different species interact with each other, which species can be together in one aquaria, what are their nutrient requirements, their food requirements, and their space requirements. All these things are things that should have marine biologists involved in, because marine biologists or ecologists are not probably the best people to give advice on how these ecosystems are healthier and how they will work together and which species can interact with how and which and what and who and how. Yeah, there's another possibility for you. And also museums, so natural history museums or any kind of ocean-related museums. Both museums and aquariums do have normally on the backstage some research projects going on, and normally they are in cooperation with universities. So they can have like a couple of scientists on the background also working on a specific topic that they are interested in. But normally these people will also be working in cooperation with other people working in academia. But I know some people who have worked in museums as researchers, not only and also in aquarium, not only as staff members, like taking care of the aquariums and making sure that they're healthy, but also working in the backstage doing some research, for instance, in coral reproduction. Private company in which having a marine biology degree could also be a requirement for some positions are the biotechnology companies. If you enter this company with a marine biology position, you will probably be much more focused in the lab, so you'll probably be a lot of lab work basically. So normally they will look for someone who has some kind of marine biology related lab experience. What these companies normally try to do is they try to use products from nature, for instance, products that algae can produce, to modify them in the way that can be useful for us. For instance, to create cosmetics or medicine, or for instance, related to my field of plastic pollution in the ocean, for instance, trying to understand how the degradation of plastic works in order to make more biodegradable plastics. These are all kind of things that biotechnology companies do work on, and normally they are more focused on lab work, not so much on field work. And of course, there's always the possibility of working in government-related institutions or agencies. Probably most countries do have some kind of agency responsible for the natural parks, for the creation of natural parks, and working many times in cooperation with universities to kind of find the best plan or the best locations for new natural parks, to kind of research whether some places should be protected or not, or sometimes just related to kind of legal things, sometimes just paying attention to whether we should be okay, this is wrong, building this here, maybe someone should pay attention to it. So basically just being responsible for the overall environment in your country, or if it's in the local government of your region, of wherever it is. And of course, many of these organizations have a section or a part which is related to either coastal areas, if you live in a coastal area, or to offshore activities. Just research in your local government whether there's something like that if you're interested, or in your country or in your region. And the requirements for marine biologists will probably really depend on which projects they will have at the time, but anyways, it's always good to have a check. Of course, another option is working in international environmental organizations, for instance WWF or Greenpeace, the United Nations. United Nations is a huge international organization, obviously, and they do have labs that dedicate their work to studying the environment, and one of them, or at least one that I know in Monaco, is studying the marine environment. For instance, I know now they have a project with marine plastic, and they are trying to kind of just understand what the hell is going on with the marine plastic pollution and how bad the impacts of plastic in the ocean can be, and what kind of measures can be taken to minimize the impact or to control it, or so they have a lot of projects that I find very interesting. This video is now incredibly long, so I will leave it at that. Please don't take like my word for it, or however you say. So this doesn't mean that these are the only options you will have as a marine biologist. Of course, some people just leave marine science in a hole and just use the skills they acquired elsewhere. These were just places or companies or organizations that I found that were looking for marine biologists specifically, but doesn't mean that there are other jobs that you can have with a degree in marine biology. And I would just say research about it if you are interested in something more specific. And with that said, I don't want to be a downer, but I want to warn you, marine biology is a very competitive field. There are much more people with a degree in marine biology than actual jobs that you can apply to. But if you are good at what you do, if you work hard, if you really are passionate about it, there's a high probability that you can find a job and that you will be very happy with it. And with that said, I hope this video helped you in any way. Gar is bored to death at this point, so I have to feed him now. Like the video if you liked it, share it if you think this might be interesting for someone, and have a nice day, evening, morning, whatever stage of the day you are, and see you in the next video. Bye.